The thing that you have to do before you talk about what is happening now, I think it's probably useful to go back and you have to really start at the end of the great financial crisis.
Markets are in complete turmoil across the board. At the time of writing, the S&P 500 is down 18% year to date. The Dow Jones is down 14% year to date. Bitcoin is trading at 21,200, down 55% year to date. The May Consumer Price Index shot up to 8.3%, the highest since 1981. And to top it off, many companies across all sectors are beginning to announce layoffs. In his All-In podcast, Chamath Palihapitiya addressed why he believes the recovery won't take just 6 months or even a year. He believes we are in for a long economic recovery due to all of the Fed printing and monetary theory that didn't pan out as expected. Before we listen to Chamath, if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button as we put out daily content to keep you updated on the market.
And the reason is there was a bunch of people coming out of the GFC who confused what the US government and some European governments were doing. At the time, there was the risk of a huge financial contagion. And so the US stepped in and the Federal Reserve started to use their balance sheet to buy toxic assets, right? And the ECB did that, and I think Japan did that as well. Anyways, a bunch of banks did it. A bunch of governments did it. And then there was this body of pseudoscientific economists who coined this thing called modern monetary theory, which basically said, hey, you can keep printing money and introducing it into the economy to smooth things out and to actually drive long-term growth. And it turns out that a bunch of government officials fell for it. And if you fast forward to 2022, so 14 years later, governments around the world had printed something to the tune of about 35 odd trillion dollars of money into the economy that should have never been there. So the thing to remember is we have not necessarily just been obfuscating true supply demand in the last 6 or 8 months when we've been talking about a recession or inflation. We've been actually doing it since 2008. It's just that it's been building up in the system. So one of the things that we have to realize is that all of that money somehow needs to get destroyed in some way, shape, or form if the true economic equilibrium is meant to be found. What is true supply? What is true demand in the absence of government sloshing money around, trying to prop up things that should not be propped up, or buying votes, or all the grifts that these folks have engaged in the last decade and a half have to get undone. So that's the backdrop. So if you think about taking $30 trillion out of the global economy, you're talking about almost, I think it's 85 trillion is the world GDP. So it's almost half of an entire year's worth of global GDP. It's going to take 3 years probably of the slow, meticulous, running off of money, not reintroducing new money. So it seems like we're at the beginning of something that's going to be long and drawn out. Now that's separate from whether we're in a recession or not. That's just the bear market that we're in, right? And so you have to look at asset prices today as a microcosm of a much larger trend that has to be about fake money pushing asset prices up, and now taking all that fake money out and finding out what the real price of something is. And I just don't think that takes 6 months. So for all the people that were, fingers crossed, hoping that this would be the end of it, Fed raises 75, we're done with this, they're going to raise 75 more. I just think that's not how it's probably going to be. It's going to take, 24, 36 months. That may mean the bottom doesn't happen for another 18 months. So I think we're in for a lot of choppy market action.
Along with the traditional markets, Chamath believes that the recovery in the crypto markets will also be a long road, but for different reasons. Headlines have been coming out as of late with bad players in the crypto markets beyond just Terra Luna. Chamath expressed that the shakedown of these fraudulent activities will take some time, but when they do, that's when we will see a recovery in the market, as more people will begin to recover confidence in crypto.
Wait till these token sale things get litigated. I mean, the amount of grift by so many of these venture firms in running these sketchy deals where they would put in some amount of money. This is my understanding of the scam because it was explained to me. You put in a little bit of equity at some crazy price. And then you get these tokens, and apparently there's no, like, you can just sell these tokens day one. And so what happens is, like, you price the equity, but it's meaningless because really what you're getting is the right to get some amount of these tokens. The price is crazy. You sell it, and then you just kind of walk away. And apparently, you do these deals where you just rinse and repeat this thing. Wait till that gets exposed. Well, there's an article. There's an article, and I think it was in Bloomberg, about folks trying to figure out how to get a lawsuit filed against Binance. And the problem was that they didn't even know what entity to sue. It's not clear who owns what, and what owns the other, and who the ultimate look-through ownership structure is, and it doesn't mean that Binance is guilty of anything. But the article was just showing how there was a U.S. investor who lost $1.2 million, who wanted to file a lawsuit, and they have every right to do that. Couldn't even find the corporate entity to actually file this lawsuit against. So if that's what's happening in a $1 trillion market, there's
it's going to be a lot of pain.
It's a lot of oversight. That if it's a security, it has to be governed by the SEC. If it's a future or commodity, it's the CFTC. And the problem is we need Congress to pass some legislative framework that puts the puck in one side of the arena, a rink or the other.
Yeah.
And otherwise all this gray is going to exist for a long time. And people, if governments really hate it when retail investors lose money, well, watch out. I mean, it's the worst kept secret in crypto how much insider trading is going on amongst the organizations that run the exchanges and their side pockets that they use to manage liquidity. I mean, it's the biggest thing that's been happening in crypto. It's not illegal. This is my understanding, though. It's not illegal to front run crypto trade. So most of these organizations that run an exchange, right, compete for order flow, and they're able to just look at that order flow, and then they front run the trade, and they're on the other side of that. So they're always making money. And so they were making tens of billions of dollars. All these exchanges were.
If you want to watch the full interview, check out the link in the description. What do you think of Chamath's thoughts here? Do you think the recovery will take years? Leave a comment. If you found value in the content, hit the like button, as that greatly helps the channel find similar viewers like you. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, as we put out daily content to keep you updated on the market. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.